Hey, Scar Not Silent. This is Rodney G. It's nice to have you here with me today. And it is a beautiful sunny day, 87 degrees right now in Mesa, Arizona. So to us, that is wonderful. Tonight, I'll be wearing uh, probably my sweat jacket. That's how we roll here in the desert. Anyway, thank you for being here. Like I said before, this is Scar Not Silent, where we left off, right? We're going to keep it going. So I am at this stage now. I had a transplant. I was in there for about a week or so, if I remember correctly. And it was time to discharge. Everything went well. I started making urine, had that kidney transplant. In case you're wondering, you just jumped in and was like, what the hell was going on? So I had a kidney transplant. Was in there for about a week. Everything was going pretty well. I was moving fairly well, a little slower than usual, a little more pain, but overall not too bad just for having a kidney removed. Well, sorry about that, having a kidney put in. That's something to mention as well. So when, at least in my instance, so when I got the kidney, I got a kidney put in, but I didn't get one taken out. So that means I have three kidneys. So I have my two native kidneys in my back. Obviously, that's where the kidneys are at. If you don't know, you better start getting into the anatomy chart. And then I have the transplant kidney on my right side. Basically, it's a little lower, but it's we'll say for lack of being too technical, like in the stomach area. I had the incision right there. They drop it down a little lower, but I have the incision on my stomach. So yeah, I have three kidneys. The two native ones don't function. I don't know if it completely lacks function or have some function. I know the one doesn't because it doesn't even have uh like a functional tube to it, uterine tube. So I don't know the ins and outs of that. So if a doctor happens to listen, then you could go ahead and tag me to give me a more accurate information. But I know I have three kidneys still, which some people have four kidneys, I've heard. And so that's interesting too. So I'm leaving. And at this time, I get home, I get settled. And I still have my best friend and at the time his wife there, and they're a little further away than we lived at in San Diego. So their Airbnb was, I would say, about 20 minutes or so away. So if I would go over there. Sometimes my wife and I would go over there and stay with them because obviously she was still in recovery too, but she was doing pretty good. By the time I got out of the hospital, she was already home, or she was already at the Airbnb, and she was up moving around pretty good. So I was still tender, still taking pain medications to just get by, until I was fully able to move around. So stayed there, off and on with them for a little bit until they went back to Arizona. And at that time, it was just my wife and I. My son lived there, and we had to make arrangements because she had to work, and I believe he was getting ready to go to school at the time, if not in school, in college. So we had to figure out what we was going to do. So when you leave, like I said before, you have to have some caregiver set up. So for instance, I would need somebody while my wife worked. At this time, she did not work at home. And so then after that, I was pretty much by myself. So we had to make arrangements to figure out what we was going to do. And then this is when met a guy a while back. Like I said, I'm trying not to use names. So I met a guy, but ended up getting close while we stayed in San Diego. I stayed in San Diego, and his wife had worked with my wife in a different department. And one time we had, I think it was the Super Bowl, and they had came over and we watched the Super Bowl together. And so we just really clicked together, kind of stayed in contact a little bit, and then got to talking about the transplant. And he's like, well, I could stay with you during this time, in the mornings from this time, if you need somebody to stay. And so that was my caregiver that I had during the day until everybody came home, till my son came home and Marie got home. And plus, I needed somebody to walk the dog too. So he was able to walk the dog, and they didn't want me to walk the dog because too early. Because if Buddy, I will give you Buddy's name because he's no longer with us. So Buddy would take the dog. Oh, I'm sorry, Buddy was the dog. Getting ahead of myself. My buddy would take Buddy. So my dog Buddy would get walked um, from the friend I just met through my wife. So I had that taken care of. most people, I mean, if you don't get it taken care of, if you don't have nobody, and then the other option would be, I guess you could hire someone if you have that type of money, or you could go into a nursing home and your insurance could cover that as well. So, like I said, always check just to make sure. But those are the options that were given to me at the time, and I didn't have to go to a nursing home. So this happens. Then you have all your meds with you. Like I said, they gave me a nice little bag to take home, and then you have frequent visits to the hospital. And like I said, I had my best friend was able to cover that and take me if my wife wasn't able to take me at the time to get that situated. But once he left, so my wife was able to take me to those appointments, and then she was able to go in to work after, drop me off, or she could stay depending on how she flexed her time. But that happens for a series of I meant to go ahead and I don't have my paperwork, so I was gonna see if I could print it off. But they give you a schedule of the times that you have to go in. So I think I went in 3 times a week, 4 times a week in the beginning. And that is to get your blood drawn, and at that time you should be making urine. They also do the urine draws as well. So you continue just to do your fluids, then you meet your doctors throughout the process, and this goes on, like I said, I think it was for like 6 weeks. It's just a constant follow up, make sure everything's working, you're not having any infections, you're not having any issues with the medications. It is extremely taxing because you want to lay in hell and you have to go to these appointments on a regular, which you need to get up anyway. So it's not bad. It's just when you're sick, right? Or you don't feel well or after surgery. I mean, I went in so much that the people knew me by name, right? Before oh, hi, Mr. Washington. But I always kind of talk and try to look at, the brighter side of things and get to know them a little bit. But I go to the desk and they checked you in already, Mr. Washington. Oh, thank you. So that's how often you will go, just to kind of give you a reference. But also, you kind of have made, at least for a short time, your group of people. Because usually you'll have the same people on the schedule, right? So if you're going in and they give you a time to go in to get checked, to get your labs and everything done. So if you're going in like 8 o'clock, well, you might have 2 or 3 people, maybe at 8:15, maybe one at 8:30, 8:45, and then while you're waiting, you kind of see people, and you always carry your bag with you to the hospital. So you always carry your medical bag with you when you're going to the hospital, and it has your paperwork in there. And if there's any adjustments, you have it changed. And also, you have to wear a mask. So before you even uh, COVID hit, I already had a mask, and that's what they just trained you, was to always to wear your mask during that time. So I would have my mask on going into to get my labs done, and I had my big case with my meds and all my documentation in there. And so you kind of look around, and when you see somebody with a mask and their bag, you're like, they had transplant. You don't know what transplant, but you know they're a transplant patient. And you'll get to speaking with the people, and you start talking about your transplant. And there was one young woman. She was a woman, but she was a very petite woman. We thought she was much younger than what she was, but she's just petite. And she got her transplant from a baby, from a baby that was obviously taken off of life support. And because her body was small enough to take this kidney from the baby, that's how she was able to get her kidney. And I don't know what the issues were with the child, but the family obviously was wanting to do the donation. So that was pretty interesting to talk to her and get her perspective from getting a baby's kidney. Sometimes you get the cadaver kidneys, but they're older people. And so a lot of times when you get that cadaver kidney, people have some remorse that somebody had to pass to get a kidney, so you can stay alive, and that becomes it can become a mental strain on you if you keep reflecting on that. And she, in the beginning, said it was a little tough to think about, baby had to pass away, but with time, things kind of get to be understandable. I don't know if it's like a better, but understandable. She was alive, and that was the other side of it too, as well, is it didn't go to waste. It kept preserving life. So that was quite the story to, have that conversation with her. And I saw her for a while, and she wasn't even, I don't even think she was from San Diego. I think she was out of town actually, and she had put in several requests at the different hospitals. So I didn't see her too much. I think 2 or 3 times maybe. And I know they had an Airbnb here, and they were staying here until they was done and got the okay to go back to their provider. But that was one of those stories that you just kind of meet people and you share. You're in this kind of weird fraternity sorority type of thing where only you and them kind of really know what's going on. So that's where we're at. We're just still, now it just becomes a day of healing and stories and everything else. Keep with me. Scarred Not Silent. This is Rodney G. And before I go, like I said, you can go to www.scarrednotsilent.com. When you get to there, on the right, there's a little place that says, please help me. Please help me keep the show on. And there was me and my friend played semi-pro. There was this coach and it was like a semi-pro, and we had like this part we practiced out, and the lights went out, and he's like, guys, I need money to get to keep the lights on, guys. I need the money to keep, every practice was, I need the money to keep the lights on, guys. So I need money to keep the lights on. It might not be that bad, but it's nice to help, take care of some of that a little financial strains that I have to buy equipment and all the other stuff. We're going to keep the lights on. And Scarred Not Silent. If you wake up, you have a purpose. Bye.